Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another special episode of the Speak the Truth podcast. Harvard University, it's getting wrecked by the Trump administration currently. Talking about a quarter of Harvard's freshman class is about to not be able to show up unless they can find somewhere else to live, I guess. I don't know. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the couple that got murdered last night in Washington, D.C. that worked out of the Israeli embassy. And we're going to talk about something I think that's a little bit more disturbing as well, which would be a pattern that's emerging. Houthis ended up blowing themselves up. Thank God. We'll talk about that. We're going to go over a heck of a lot more on today's episode. Hope you guys are ready. I'm going to show you guys this video as we're waiting on everybody to slowly ease in here tonight. I want to show you guys this video. You should check this sucker out. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Liberty Bell. It's a replica. I'm pretty sure. This is a replica, but I just want to show this to you. When you're asking why are students being targeted and what the hell is going on in our country, maybe start here. Maybe take a look. I'm pretty sure this video is about from a year ago. I'm trying to verify if this is a new one, but I'm trying to verify right now. The flipping Liberty Bell, man. Wrap your head around this for a minute before I get into tonight and ask yourself whether or not these people deserve to actually be in this country. I've got the memo that Pam Bondi actually sent to Harvard to ask them to check themselves and let them know that basically, they're losing the ability to enroll foreign students. They don't have it anymore. They don't get that. No, sir. That's gone. They don't get it anymore. Good evening. Welcome on in, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a hell of a show, I promise you. You're going to love this one. Don't worry about it. Because there's some really troubling stuff that actually came out today from one of the victims of last night's shooting, along with the suspect himself. Yeah, you better drop a like. You better share the crap out of it, ladies and gentlemen. Do me a favor and do that as we get going. Get them out of here, dude. You and me both, man. We both wish they could get out of here. I wish we could kick them out. I really do. A lot of them are on their way out, though. I'll tell you that right now. I know a lot of them are on their way out. They're not going to be lasting very long, unless they can find another home. To be perfectly honest, I went back and I looked. You know, as we talk about before we roll into everything else, I went back and I looked at how many protests Harvard had had over the last year. It was a lot. I think it was 15 or 18, either anti-Israeli. I checked for either anti-Israel or pro-Palestinian protests that were being held at Harvard. And you had, it was either 15 or 18. It was a buttload of them. Let me open it up. I'll tell you how many. I mean, it's insane how many they had. They're up there on that UCLA level, in Matt's opinion, right? It's an insane amount. But yeah, either way, no. Do they deserve to have all of that? In my opinion, no. Do they deserve to have student visas if they're going to be out there doing that crap? No, they don't. I want to focus first on the couple that ended up getting murdered last night over in D.C. It was clearly a targeted attack. Two individuals working out of the Israeli embassy, block away from the freaking FBI headquarters. They had all sorts of stuff going for them in life. Next week, they were set to get engaged over inside of Israel. It's just nuts. And the details about what happened and how they got murdered is absolute. Remember, if you guys missed this morning, when I showed you this morning, the guy just literally sitting there, just cold faced everything else, pretending nothing had happened. Maybe he was a victim. He's getting safe harbor, everything else. Wait till you hear what this dude actually did when he killed these people. Murdered. Wait till you hear about it. Because when you do, you're going to understand this statement right here.
President Trump is saddened and outraged over the brutal murder of two Israeli embassy staff here in Washington, D.C. last night. Yaron Lashinsky and Sarah Mgrim were a beautiful young couple. In fact, we learned that Yaron was planning to propose to Sarah next week in Jerusalem. Yaron's father, Daniel, spoke about the young couple's devotion for one another this morning. He said, "They were in love, one for the other. The embassy told us they were like a star couple at the embassy. I never expected something like this. He had his whole life before him." These words, especially every parent knows, are heart-wrenching. The evil of anti-Semitism must be eradicated from our society.
Yep.
I spoke to the Attorney General this morning. The Department of Justice will be prosecuting the perpetrator responsible for this to the fullest extent of the law. Hatred has no place in the United States of America under President Donald Trump. Everyone here at the White House is praying for the victims' friends and families during this unimaginable time. President Trump...
I apologize for the volume being low. I'm allowed one stupid mistake per stream, and I just ate it up. So allow me to take that. Hey, I wanted to welcome over a new true supporter. Order the Chaos, first of all, thanks for gifting out one. Sargon, thank you for gifting out another one. And Jacob Visor, welcome. Jacob Visor, I feel like you've been a true supporter before. I'm sorry about that, man. I don't know. Sometimes when it like renews you guys, you end up getting set up on it. This is the one where you need to understand. What you just heard right there, and listen to what Pam Bondi is about to tell you about what they're trying to do.
Would you describe the suspect as cooperating?
Yeah, I can't talk about that. I'm sorry. But...
Would you describe this case as the possibility of being a capital murder case?
Yeah, so I was a career capital prosecutor, and what I can say in any case right now, because I'm not just commentating on it, it's with my office, you weigh the facts, you look at the law, and I signed a death warrant yesterday on a case. So we are seeking the death penalty again. That was Donald Trump's directive from day one. But we will look at this case very closely, and the facts of this are horrific. But that will be decided down the road in accordance with the law. But let me assure you, justice will be served in this case.
Would you describe the suspect as cooperating?
You say what a world we live in. I disagree. Sargon, not quite sure how to pronounce it. Jude Chase says it's impossible to deport. It's not. It's not impossible to deport. As a matter of fact, they came out and they reaffirmed that like the Trump administration's got the right to kick people out. So that's a good thing, right? We won that one, but they're seeking after the death penalty. I'm going to put this up on your screen. Most of you guys already know what happened. A lot of you probably don't know this. The part that's whited out, what you're looking at is like the probable cause warrantless affidavit for his arrest, right? Or the report that ends up coming off of it. This guy, to give you a little bit of background, was hanging around like the entrance to this place for a while, pacing back and forth. A lot of people saw him standing there. And I don't know if you guys remember me telling you, but as soon as Israel goes into Gaza, be ready for shit like this to happen, because it will. It's going to happen. And it's going to increase, and it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. It's coming. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm not. Listen to this. Once Rodriguez walked past the decedents and two witnesses, he turned to face their backs and brandished a firearm from the area of his waistband. Rodriguez is captured on the video extending both his arms in the direction of the decedents and firing several times as indicated by muzzle flashes. Once the decedents fell to the ground, Rodriguez is captured on the video, advancing closer to the decedents, leaning over them with his arm extended and firing several more times. As decedent 1 attempted to crawl away from Rodriguez, he followed from behind her and fired again. After a brief moment, Rodriguez appeared to reload his firearm. At the same time, decedent 1 sat up. Once he reloaded, Rodriguez fired several shots in decedent 1. I hope you heard what I said. He walked past them, got behind them, shot them both from behind. Then the female, he walked over, and as she's crawling away for her dang life, he walks up behind her and starts unloading. So he unloads on her to the point where he has to reload. Clearly, she had stopped crawling at that point and probably rolled over. And then she goes to sit up, and he puts more rounds into her until she finally passes away. First, I want you to think what a freaking soul she has. What a soul that woman had to be crawling away like that. How crappy that had to have been for her. And then maybe when he stopped shooting, she got a glimpse of hope and she gets to sit up, maybe turn around, maybe not, I don't know. And then he puts another round in her. This is her at 17 years old.
This is the first time senior Sarah Mgrim has felt unsafe at school.
You know, I worry about going to my synagogue, and now I have to worry about safety at school, and that shouldn't be a thing.
17 years old. Now she's in her mid-20s. She's on her way to go get married. She's celebrating in Washington, D.C.
Is the first time senior Sarah Mgrim has felt unsafe at school.
You know, I worry about going to my synagogue, and now I have to worry about...
For the last 8 years. That's all this human being has ever known. Being targeted for being Jewish? Great. How freaking horrible are these human beings? Freedom Cowboy sent 5 Speak the Truth memberships. Hell yeah, Freedom Cowboy. Greatly appreciate you, brother. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Jacob Visor says, I've been for a long time, checked today and saw it had been expired. Glad to rejoin the fold. Ah, Jacob, that makes sense. I know I've read your name before. Order the Chaos, so horrible. Thank you. Boner. Boner? I need to learn how to spell that word. I'm pretty sure it's boner. Comes in, gifting out 5 Speak the Truth memberships. Tom Bones in the house says, foreign influence in our universities is the #1 threat to the sovereignty of our nation. You are correct. I'll tell you, there's a lot of people that are speculating. This guy has been traveling. What I've been told is that for years now, the last 5 or 6 years of his life plus, he's been nothing but this pro demonstrator. He's a major anti-commie type, kind of what's his name, Jackson Hinkle, not anti-commie, commie, socialism, all that crap. So he's kind of like Jackson Hinkle in that matter, but he's going around. Nobody just gives a crap about who he is. And somehow he got radicalized over this side to where he felt it was cool to go over and do this cold-blooded murder in broad daylight, sit down and wait for the cops to come over and arrest him and shout, "Free Palestine!" After he ends up capping these people in the back of the freaking head like a freaking coward. You want to hear a good interview? This guy. Apparently he's got some decent clothes on. They got him in the office. I'm pretty sure this is the guy I saw on the street the other day, last night, that witnessed the whole thing.
As you go forward, with what you have seen, can you give us any sense, because you said you looked the shooter in the eyes, can you give us any sense of what you saw in him as he was sort of getting help and people were tending to him as if he too was a victim of seeing this?
Yeah, well, to be clear, I heard about that part because we were in the secure room when he initially walked in. I just saw him screaming and then being handcuffed. But what I saw in his eyes, I went to Columbia for grad school, and I saw the same thing in his eyes as I saw in the eyes of all the protesters at Columbia. Nothing different between him and them.
Weird.
But they did not create this horrific shooting. They did not, they didn't shoot.
They gave permission. They gave the permission. And they've called for this. They have called for Intifada revolution, which is the same thing he yelled last night.
Weird.
Do you worry that there will be a conflation, though, of the two, those people who are speaking their mind, who really care about what is happening in Gaza, and those people who are like this person who did this horrific shooting, who intend to do harm?
A conflation. They are calling for Intifada. At Columbia University, they call for Intifada constantly. They're not quietly. They're loud. They're loud. You can hear it. They make recordings of themselves. So what's the difference?
Are you afraid?
No shit.
Yes.
What will
We're
you do
all
about
afraid.
that?
Everyone should be afraid.
What are you doing to try to make yourself feel safer?
Well, okay, you just go on and live your life. I'm a New Yorker. I remember 9/11. You can't let them make you be afraid. You have to go on. You have to live your life, and hopefully your government does things to protect you. Last night, our government failed us.
Jonathan Epstein, I know that they are going forward with this. There is expected to be charges in this case. We will see what happens. But I know you'll be watching, and we'll talk to you again as this goes forward. Thank you so much.
CNN, are you freaking serious? Like, they can't be serious trying to pretend like they didn't see that coming. Like, they didn't know that when everybody screams an Antifada revolution, that's exactly what they're talking about. That's 100% what they're talking about. Crypt Media says, did you hear about the fundraiser supposedly for the shooter? No, I didn't, but it wouldn't surprise me. I did see a TikTok video of this one gal from earlier on that said, whoever you are that ended up murdering those two guys, don't worry about it. I'll take care of you when you're in prison. And she's like dancing around and proud of it. Made me really sick to my stomach. I might have it in the stack. I don't know if I put it in there or not. It's just ridiculous. Honest Rating says, how effing hard can it be to properly secure our schools? Honest question. Parents that are police officers or veterans would volunteer for free. You're right. We would. You know what else would be really easy? For the federal government or the state governments just to frickin' fund the proper levels of security for the students. That would be really easy. This problem can be solved overnight. And if you don't like guns on campus, fine. Fine. That's fine. But provide the funding and a timeline and actually put some dang movement on it. But they won't do it because they're too worried about gun control and they want to make sure that all of your guns are taken away. And every time a kid gets murdered, they want to be able to take it and throw it out there and be like, oh my Lord, what can we do? How can we capitalize on this now? How can we make this into a freaking tragedy, right? God, man. Drives me nuts. Stu Howe coming in, giving out 5 Speak the Truth memberships. Orderly Chaos. Can we do a fundraiser for the family? Potentially, I got to talk to the family to make sure that I can get the money to them. And then once I get it confirmed that we can get the money to that family, yes, I can do that. I have no doubt. I mean, dude, we raised 20 grand in like 2 days a couple months ago. I have no doubt that we could do the exact same thing. Honest Ratings coming up with 5. He says, how effing hard can it be to properly secure the schools? Oh, I'm sorry, Honest Ratings. I already read that one. Yeah, you're right. Tom Bones, you are the only one responsible for your own safety and security, and the government cannot protect you. You're correct, Tom. You are correct, sir. But the problem is, if I send my kids to a school and somebody's in there with a gun and I hear about it and I show up to the school and I say, get the F out of the way. I'm an ex-police officer, retired Green Beret. I'm going to go kill this son of a bitch. And the cops arrest me for trying to go into the building or shoot me for trying to get in there. Meanwhile, they're stacked outside of a door because they don't have enough training and experience to know what the hell to do. It's a problem. So while I agree with you, my children, when they're in schools, are in the custody of another adult, and it's that adult's responsibility to make sure they're okay. But at this point in time, I think maybe we ought to just pull the damn kids out. It's not like the schools are doing them any good anyways. We're like, where are we ranked inside the world anyways? Let's talk about this couple for a minute. She was an American. She also worked at the embassy. She was a Jewish Christian Zionist. He was born in Germany. He was also a Christian Zionist, meaning that they both believed that Israel had a right to its own existence and that it was allowed to defend itself. He immigrated to Israel when he was 16. He served as a Christian in the Israeli Defense Force. He was a policy researcher. She worked as a Christian for Jewish Outreach, and they were guest speakers at the fundraising event that they were at for humanitarian aid and peace with Palestinians. Wrap your head around that. Danny Golan says, I can probably get the contact for the family. Danny, if you can get that and you can get that to me, that would be great. If they don't have one, we will make it happen. If they don't have it, we will make it happen. If they do have it, get it back to me so that we can share it. Because God knows this guy. I was right. I did take it. God knows the other side's taking care of him. I got to kill the music because, they'll go and demonetize me over it. Can you guys read what that says? Let me blow it up nice and big. To the people who squirt gun and unalive 2 Israelis in Washington, D.C., then scream Free Palestine over their bodies or at their bodies, I love you and will help make sure you're taken care of in jail. How is this okay? Like, how did we get to this point where you get to murder people and then have people be like, oh, you murdered an innocent couple that nobody knows about. Great. I'm just going to support you as you go to jail. Not you piece of shit. I hope you rot in hell and die. That guy, according to Pam Bondi, is probably going to face the death penalty and needs to. Oddly enough, same day, a violent attack ended up taking place. Let me see here. Let me make sure I get this right. It was a Swedish member of the European Parliament. Her name was Alison Trudeau. She's a staffer with the Middle Eastern roots of Swedish Left Party. She was assaulted in a hallway in the European Parliament. She's one of the main Israeli allies in Sweden and said earlier this week that recognizing the right to a Jewish homeland in Israel should be a prerequisite for foreigners wanting to obtain the Swedish memberships. The guards ran over there and ended up stopping everything. This is the lady. Now, why do I bring that up? Because that happened one day after. Now, this guy, right? Everybody's like, oh, no, this dude ended up having a buttload of training. He ended up getting a buttload of training. I don't think that's the case at all. I think that he was radicalized inside of the protest, that he ended up having an online presence, obviously, because he was out there doing that. He was likely targeted online. He was likely influenced by people online to go over and conduct this attack and make it happen. I don't think he left country and got some advanced firearms training. I don't think there's anything crazy like that, because all of that stuff, he's in America. You can get all of that crap here. So he likely got all of that training here and ended up getting it done. Danny Golan, thank you. Please, if you can, get that to me. Tom Bones, I made that comment in response to the CNN video. Gotcha. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate you, buddy. All right. So Kristi Noem, she's cracking down. She's over this crap. I'm kind of with her on it. I'm not going to lie. I'm over it as well. There's a letter to Harvard from the Department of Homeland Security, right? Letting them know, because of all of this garbage, that their status is getting revoked for student exchange program. This is what it says. It says, I'm writing to inform you that effective immediately, Harvard University's student exchange visitor program certification is revoked. Now, normally I wouldn't even bother reading this all the way through, but it's so angrily written and justifiably so that I kind of feel the need to. I'm not going to lie. As I explained to you in my letter in April, it is a privilege to enroll foreign students, and it is also a privilege to employ aliens on campus. All universities must comply with the Department of Homeland Security's requirements, including reporting requirements under the Student Exchange Visitor Program's regulations to maintain this privilege. As a result of your refusal to comply with the multiple requests to provide the Department of Homeland Security pertinent information while perpetrating an unsafe campus environment that is hostile to Jewish students, promotes pro-Hamas sympathies, and employs racist, diversity, equity, and inclusion policies, you've lost your privilege. You guys are going to hear at the end of this letter what exactly they asked for, and it makes sense as to why. It says, the revocation of your student exchange visitor program certification means that Harvard is prohibited from having any aliens on an F or J non-immigration status for 2025 through 2026 academic year. This decertification also means that existing aliens on F or J non-immigration status must transfer to another university in order to maintain their non-immigrant status. This action should not surprise you, and it is the unfortunate result of Harvard's failure to comply with simple reporting requirements. Wait till you hear what they asked for. On April 16th, 2025, I requested school records pertaining to non-immigrant students enrolled at Harvard University, including information regarding misconduct and other offenses that would render foreign students inadmissible or removable. On April 30th of 25, Harvard's counsel provided information that he represented as responsive to my request. It was not. As a courtesy that Harvard was not legally entitled to, the acting DHS general counsel responded on behalf of myself and afforded Harvard another opportunity to comply. Harvard again provided an insufficient response. Consequences must follow to send a clear signal to Harvard and all universities that want to enjoy the privilege of enrolling foreign students that the Trump administration will enforce the law and root out the evils of anti-Americanism and anti-Semitism on campuses. Takes it a step further on the next page. Says, please be advised, if Harvard would like the opportunity of regaining student and exchange visitor program certification before the upcoming academic school year, you must provide all the information requested below within 72 hours. And I could only assume that the stuff that they're asking about is exactly what they asked for in the first dang place. Any and all records, whether official or informal, and that's just going to be the get-go of each one. So I'm just going to read that one time and then go. Any and all records, whether official or informal, in the possession of Harvard University, including electronic records and or audio footage, regarding illegal activity, whether on or off campus, by non-immigrant students enrolled at Harvard University in the last 5 years, regarding dangerous or violent activity, whether on or off campus, by non-immigrant student enrolled at Harvard in the last 5 years, regarding threats to other students or university personnel, whether on or off campus, by non-immigrant students enrolled at Harvard University in the last 5 years, regarding deprivation of rights of other classmates or university personnel, whether on or off campus, and any and all disciplinary records of all non-immigrant students enrolled at Harvard in the last 5 years, any and all audio and video footage in the possession of Harvard of any protest activity involving non-immigrant student at Harvard in the last 5 years. That seems to be a pretty freaking easy request for them to fill, and it just seems like they didn't want to do it. Kind of makes sense. Screw them. They don't want to do it. F them. They're not going to get it. So all that 25% of that freshman class is about 25% of the freshman class now has to transfer to another university. Additionally, anybody that thinks they're going to Harvard next year from any other country is going to have to figure something else out. It's not an easy process. I doubt they're going to get that problem solved. Tim Erkins, update on the 97th ISS Leadership Board FDT. Haven't heard anything yet. You're right. We got to give them a call. We need to call back that freaking unit and make sure that they're on it. Takio, if Sean Ryan isn't believable, then is Sarah Adams? I have mixed emotions. Recently discovered that Sarah and I have a mutual friend, and I'll be talking to him here in the near future, but she says a lot of things that I don't believe, that I think are factually incorrect, that I can prove are factually incorrect. So we'll go from there here in a little bit. Here's the deal. Here's what happens.
As you mentioned, 18% of Harvard's freshman class this year are foreign. They're foreigners here on student visas. What happens? Where do they go now? What do they do?
Yeah, we have given Harvard multiple opportunities to give us the documentation that we've requested to conduct oversight. We've asked them for the backgrounds on students that attend their university, their criminal activity on campus, off of campus, any video or audio footage they have of this violent activity, and they have just simply not complied. This is something that they need to do in order to comply with this program as it was established. And so, unfortunately, all of their foreign students
God bless,
face
Tanner.
the consequences of Harvard's lack of protecting the individuals that go there. So 27% of their students are foreign students, and they will have to find some other university to go to, and hopefully they find one that cares about them and provides a safe environment.
You want me to prove Sarah Adams wrong? Do you want to talk about the invisible bomb for a minute, or whatever, the undetectable bomb? You mean to tell me that bomb sniffing dogs can't frickin' find those? That is the most absurd damn thing I've ever heard. She also talks about how they're going to be virtually undetectable inside of the metal detectors. When was the last time you're allowed to go through a metal detector? There's a couple of them that do exist, but even then, they also have updated equipment that they're running everybody through that maybe Sarah Adams might not be familiar with. I suggest she gets a hold of the TSA. But we can talk about all that at a later time. Get ready.
From campuses where these pro-Hamas terrorist campus agitators and violent protests took place. And we've also withheld funding from those very campuses as well in an effort to combat anti-Semitism. So the president's made it very clear that such hatred will have no place in our country. Thank you. And then on the big beautiful bill. The Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, has revoked thousands of student visas from campuses where these pro-Hamas terrorist campus agitators and
thousands of student visas. Thousands of student visas they have already revoked because of this garbage. Oh my goodness. Well, thank God that happened. Let's have some fun here for a minute. Yesterday, this is just fun news. The Houthis ended up deciding to scream and shout and claim that they're shutting down the ports and the airports, and they're going to be attacking ships and stuff like that. They're going to be traveling through the Red Sea as long as they're on their way over to Israel. Screw the Jews and all sorts of other like anti-Semitic crap that they ended up dealing with, right? They ended up shouting that out. Well, today, they made a huge mistake and they actually blew themselves up. First, they fired a ballistic missile at Israel. This one ends up getting intercepted, as you can see here in this video. Just a cool intercept video of the ballistic missile flying over there that ends up getting intercepted. Bye, Felicia. That's just cool. ends up going up there. You don't actually get to see the impact, ended up getting it way out there. But the cool part, that's not what I wanted. Where did it go? Where did it go? I got a video of the Houthis blowing themselves up. No! No! Did I lose the video of the Houthis blowing themselves up, or was it in the wrong place? Oh, son of a gun, I lost it. Well, the Houthis today over inside of Sana'a ended up trying to shoot a ballistic missile. We don't know what the target was, either at a cruise ship or at Israel. No idea what the hell they were targeting, or a merchant vessel, whatever. And the missile ended up blowing up, and it was a massive freaking explosion. There's just a bunch of pissed off, like, Yemeni folks walking around with their cameras, yelling and screaming at Israel, and they're going to kill everybody. Incog Faraday coming in, giving out 5 Speak the Truth memberships. Greatly appreciate you, brother. Remember how I told you yesterday of, and this week, as a matter of fact, of what the Ayatollah over in Iran, how we're like this close to like going to war and just bombing the living hell out of them? And then I showed you all the statements that the Ayatollah is making about how they're going to continue to enrich uranium. There's not a damn thing the West can do about it, on and on and on. And how the Ayatollah is making all these statements. He's gonna kick the U.S. out of freaking Western Asia, and he's gonna wipe Israel. He's gonna uproot it. He's gonna wipe it off the map and everything else. White House actually came out, had the balls, man. The White House actually had the balls to make this statement today.
Spoke to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today. They had a productive discussion. They discussed many things, including, of course, the tragic shooting that took place here in Washington, D.C. last night. But they also did talk about a potential deal with Iran, which the president believes is moving along in the right direction. And as the president told me, and he's told all of you, this deal with Iran could end in 2 ways. It could end in a very positive diplomatic solution, or it could end in a very negative situation for Iran. So that's why these talks are taking place later this week.
So we're going to have more talks. Wait a minute. Listen to this one more time.
Yamish spoke to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today. They had a productive discussion. They discussed many things, including, of course, the tragic shooting that took place here in Washington, D.C. last night. But they also did talk about a potential deal with Iran, which the president believes is moving along in the right direction.
How can she say that with like so much confidence when the Ayatollah has publicly stated that he's not going to allow it? Holy freaking crap. Holy freaking cow. How can she actually say that? Well, maybe the deal that she's talking about is a deal with Netanyahu. We're going to go bomb the living hell out of them because they've been saying that they're going to continue to enrich uranium. Incog Faraday coming in and gifting out 5 Speak the Truth memberships. Greatly appreciate you. Tanner Neal. Howdy, Nanners. Appreciate you guys. You guys are freaking awesome. Want to make sure that I got everybody. Did Incog Faraday gift out 10? Is that, did I miss that? Did I somehow screw that up? Yeah, I'm sorry. We're not going to end up striking a deal with Iran. That's just not going to happen. Oh, I do have it. Here's the Houthi missile. It was just out of stack. This is the end result. 2 stupid mistakes in one stream. 2. They blew themselves up trying to launch a ballistic missile, and look where they launched it from. Look where the destruction came from of where they launched the ballistic missile. Do you think it was out in the open desert? No. Do you think it was among the civilian population? Nod your head and smile. Yes. Today over inside Tel Aviv, IDF ended up arresting 20 freaking nut jobs. 20 nut jobs. This is what they found. It might be hard for you guys to see. Blow it up a little bit bigger for you on there. Those are pipe bombs that they ended up making. Those are pipe bombs. They're little like L joints or whatever, and you can see where they screwed them on. Interesting part about this is they do have like the little cannon fuse that's coming out of there, so that's why I'm like, okay, these are pipe bombs. They intended on lighting them and chucking them and blowing up. Ended up arresting 20 of these guys. 20. Yeah, he still fitted in a lost stock bar. You are correct. 20 of those nut jobs for going over there and trying to do it. Division 98 ended up going into Khan Yunis as part of Gideon's Chariot. Reports are saying that they eliminated dozens of people, some of them in face-to-face encounters. Not a lot of information is coming out of that. They said they took out over 200 since it started, just the other day, took out over 200 infrastructure, including combat complexes, observation posts, shafts, and underground routes used by Hamas and other terror organizations inside of Gaza. That's pretty cool. IDF also came out and ended up confirming that humanitarian aid is in fact getting turned back on and that U.S. contractors will be escorting it going over into Gaza. So that's great. But shifting focus, there wasn't a whole lot that ended up coming out of there. Shifting focus over to southern Lebanon and Tol inside southern Lebanon. They ended up putting out, IDF ended up dropping the short notice, telling them, get the hell out. Go away. We're about to launch an airstrike. Outer Space Lands coming in, gifting out 5 Speak the Truth memberships. Greatly appreciate you, brother. End up dropping this freaking leaflet, letting people know, hey, you got to get the hell out of here. And they labeled the freaking structure. They showed exactly where it was. Said, you don't want to be within 500 meters of this freaking place. Here's why. You ready? They told them to get out of there. Okay, so that's a pretty cool detonate. Like, that's a pretty cool airstrike. You notice what I didn't hear? Do you hear a bomb burning in? Listen again. You hear a bomb burning in? I don't. And I see 2 distinct flashes on there, which is also wild. That doesn't sound like an airstrike. Believe me, I've heard plenty. It ain't one. You ready for this? Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. That's a big boom. All I can say about that one is that was a big boom. Big, big boom. Ended up going off over there. Hard to tell sometimes whether or not it's like multiple or just one, but they said it was on a Hezbollah infrastructure inside of that building, and it was totally destroyed, which is great. It most certainly had secondary explosions that were going on over inside of it. Now, other cool thing. Ukraine ended up launching a massive drone attack over against Moscow. Massive drone attack over against Moscow. Word is the airport got shut down and they ended up going after oil refineries. I meant to do more research on this, but I didn't get to it. Massive, 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 massive drone attack over on Moscow. Look at all those freaking suckers. Last I heard, the airport was still shut down and that they're still shooting shit out of the sky and they're still worried about all that stuff. Now, I am going to surprise my children tomorrow morning and take them to their last day of school. They have no idea I'm coming, but I'm going to do it. So I'm going to jump off early tonight. That's also why I decided to stream a little bit earlier. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this special episode of the Speak the Truth podcast. I really hope you do. I can't believe all this